Grand Rises world. Hello to you and yours. You on the other end of this device. I wanted to come on here and share my thoughts and my ideas with some people that may want to know what are some things they should look for, or how to know if you have actually found the one. So I will start with, it's going to be a godly union. When you come into union and when you're, going and, interested in and considering taking this union to the next level, obviously you want it to be, it should be someone that you consider to be your friend. Should always be a friendship, right? It's going to be a godly union. So I personally believe that something that is going to be successful and something that is sustainable as far as a union or a marriage, a relationship, because everybody don't want to get married, and that's fine. So, it's going to be a godly union. It's going to be godly influence. It's going to be influenced by God. What I mean by that is it's going to be someone that, has God as the head of their life and their household. Someone that expresses that they get spiritual guidance. Someone that expresses that they get their guidance from the Most High. They have a connection to God or are spiritually grounded. Their spirituality is a priority. If they're not necessarily religious, maybe more spiritual, it's important that, it's an individual who acknowledges a higher power. Some people say, well, there's atheists, and what about the atheists? And I try as much as I personally can to not be so judgmental. But, sometimes I fall short of that because at the end of the day, I think that it's our natural human instinct to pass some certain levels of judgment for protection and, on a basic level, just considering who we want to have in our lives, in our circles, or if we're making business moves, and just, to have choices and how we're going to move about life and with whom. As far as individuals who consider themselves to be atheists, does that mean that they don't acknowledge that there is a higher power, or is it that they're not spiritual or that they're not religious? Because if you're not religious, just because you're not religious doesn't mean that you don't acknowledge that it's a higher power. As for my household and myself and the way that I think, the way that I feel about spirituality and the Most High God, I think that it is a very wise thing to acknowledge that there is at the least bit, at the most basic level, that there is a higher power. Being able to acknowledge that there is a higher power, because at the end of the day, how did everyone get here? Well, my mother and my father. Okay, how did they get here? So if we are small or little creatives and, we are full of this creativity, then there has to be a bigger creator, right? If we are a creator, if we are little creators, then there has to be a bigger creator, right? And like I said, that's just on a basic level. We're not even incorporating religion and spirituality. That's on big boy and big girl games, or connection and all of those other good things. So, the question is, how must you go throughout life thinking that there is not a supreme being, omnipotent being, omnipresent being? You had to get here some kind of way, right? That's my thoughts about that. So they will be God-led, definitely have an emphasis on the godly, having God as the head of their lives. Number two, I feel as though, people talk about chemistry all the time. Chemistry, feelings, the feel good stuff or whatever. Anybody, you can have chemistry with anybody. You can have chemistry with, friend, coworker, your business partner, somebody that you meet randomly and you're just having a random conversation. We can have chemistry with them. Chemistry is definitely important. Compatibility is very important. Is extremely important to me because a lot of people get together for good feels. After all of the good feels are over with and you and your partner don't like each other, then what are the compatible things that matter more than just those good feelings? Because some people, as human beings, we all don't feel good every day and we don't like our partners every day, and that's just really keeping it real and being realistic, logical, and being honest about it. Some people have unrealistic expectations in their relationships, and that's part of the reason why their relationships fail. They're either trying to live what they see online or even on TV, and these fantasy relationships, not saying that these fantasy relationships are not attainable, they are, but a lot of times, it's all for show or for the cameras. As human beings, we're flawed, and it's just not always going to be glitz and glamour and perfect, and we're not going to like each other every day, if we're being absolutely honest. So the compatibility, how are you compatible with this individual? What are the things that are going to, the goals and a goal and a mission that is greater than your feelings and the attraction that you have to this individual that is, a greater common goal that's going to help to sustain this union. That's a big one. In the union or the connection, it should feel natural on all levels. It shouldn't feel controlled, forced, or like it's a job or a chore. It should feel natural and it should flow. Some people's their relationships don't work and they try to make it work because they are afraid of being alone, don't want to be alone, or they're trying to force something with somebody that probably really don't like them. Sometimes the question is, do they absolutely like you? Some people are in union and relationships with individuals that only like the thought of playing with them and getting a good feel. And on both ends, if that's your goal, then hey, do you, more power to you. I'm no judgment over here. But some people are in unions and situations with individuals because some random situation led to them saying that they wanted to be together. Some individuals got together because they were probably under the influence. Some people look better when they're some people look better to some people when they're under the influence. As sad as it is to say, that's just keeping it real and being honest and being logical about it too. Some people are in relationships with people that don't even like them or that they don't even like. So, the whole forceful thing, it shouldn't be forced. It should flow. It should be natural. And speaking on chemistry and compatibility, usually, you guys have many similarities, likes and desires and interests. You have an undeniable connection emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Their presence feeds your energy, not threatened or depleted. And this person is likely going to be someone that is like a really good friend to you. It's going to be like your best friend. Usually when you go into a union with someone, anything that's going to be successful, I believe that, usually you have developed and established a friendship first. They make you laugh and you guys have similar interests. There's just a lot of things that the two of you both like about each other, and it's all natural. It all flows. That whole friendship aspect is very important. And then Third and lastly, you would know that an individual is right for you, or you might have found the right one, specifically a man. They are usually protective over you. They want you to feel safe and loved. They don't mind providing, yet are not threatened by your independence. They compliment you on all of your interests, goals, and desires. They are supportive of that. They cultivate, curate, or assist in creating a peaceful and harmonious environment for you, not only to thrive in, but to flow in. That word flow keeps coming up because the reason why I keep saying flow is because when you're in flow, it's just natural. That's going to be something that's spiritual, something that where you're operating in connection with the divine, spiritual, peace, calm, flow, not forceful, flow, calm. It's not a performance. It's not a trying. It's not a want to go get. You're just being, right? So that whole flow thing, they're going to provide a safe environment, or add to a safe environment, assist in creating a safe environment. They value and honor your femininity, and equally are not threatened by your masculine side. Because the thing is they say that the feminine is attracted to the masculine, and then the opposite is true, where the masculine is attracted to the feminine. They say that opposites attract, and I absolutely believe in that. But I also believe that, when it comes to everything, including the godly union, considering it being a godly union, considering the chemistry and compatibility, it being your friends and your likes and interests, and then the protective and safety part, the individual understanding that you are a human being and that you have many likes, interests, and desires is very important, because you can be, in your feminine, in your feminine flow and being very feminine. And then sometimes, that aspect, your masculine side may express itself because you and your mate, partner, or significant other are doing things that will be considered masculine, as that is your best friend. But they're absolutely okay with that, and they absolutely adore, enjoy, and love the fact that you guys can do certain things that one may consider masculine. Some guys like to do things like four-wheeling with their significant other. That might be considered masculine. Some masculines like to go, to the range or go out in a mountain somewhere in the desert and, let off some rounds, maybe do some target practice or some training or some simunitions or, different kind of trainings and things, teaching you how to survival tactics, different modes and ways of protecting yourself, even by ways of using weapons or, self-defense. That's a big one. Teaching you how to protect yourself without weapons, but, if you absolutely had to defend yourself by using just your body, for example, boxing. I love to box. I like to get into defensive things, whether that's boxing, and then once again, as I said, being very proficient in the use of weapons for self-defense, things like that. And once again, these are going to be things that you are compatible, or similarities that you may have with your significant other. But then also, they love the fact that you are into your girly or womanly things that you absolutely like. They're going to teach you different things and ways to survive. Having you as a priority, not absolutely selfish. And there's nothing wrong with, your significant other, putting themselves first sometimes, or taking time to themselves, or being with different people or whatever, as long as they're obviously respecting the union and the boundaries that you guys set and the expectations of said union. I think that where couples go wrong sometimes is the whole possessiveness where it's not cute anymore, but it's on a whole different level. Just acknowledging and respecting the fact that both individuals are an individual before they have come into union. And, just respecting that and giving your partner or significant other the space and opportunity to do the things that they like, and, doing things with or even without you sometime to, go and enjoy the world and life with other people. Like, for example, some men like to be with their guys or whatever it is that they want to do sometimes without you. I think that is, a big thing and something to be considered, because some people like to smother their significant others. I think that the best of us want someone that is obsessed with us and have us at the front of their mind. But if we're being realistic, want to give each other the space and the opportunity to do the things that we love individually. But yeah, these are the basic things, I think, the basic things to look for when you are wondering, considering, or trying to confirm if it is, the right one, or if it's a union that's, first and foremost, if it's God-led, and is it something or someone that God sent to you? Because all the things that we think that are blessings, all the things that we think that are good for us, even the people that we think that are good for us, it's not always good for us. Sometimes it's just a good feeling first and foremost. And I'm not even talking about intimately. I'm talking about just on a basic conversation level or getting to know somebody. Sometimes we can mistake that someone is good for us just based on the level of conversation. So first and foremost, is it God-led? That's going to be a big one. So yeah, and there you have it. There it is. I hope that, you find this useful, and I hope that, everybody is doing them in the most bona fide way that they know how. Let me know what you guys think about this topic. Have a blessed day.